This is unbelievable. I thought it was over then. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to myself. It's too dangerous. I don't know what this means for the mission, but it could mean the end.
Welcome back, everyone, to the mission across England. My most daring and ambitious quest to date by some margin, and one that I'm desperately hoping will result in me being the first person across my home country in a completely straight line, and not my posh young rivals. In episode 1, I was given a wake-up call by the industrious farmers of Cumbria, who I just about managed to stealth my way past without deviating outside the platinum zone. In theory, episode 2 should see me complete the second half of this action-packed first day, but if the remainder of the farmers don't have something to say about that plan, surely this ocean of fallen trees would. We resume proceedings on the side of this tractory country lane, restored and ready to dive back into the fields.
Right, I'm going to head off because I'm going to shit myself soon. So, thanks for the water. See you in a bit. Ta-da!
Ta-ra!
And there's a house right there. I like the look of this land coming up though. Just want to get away from that road and all the farm traffic that was using it.
But it wasn't the farm traffic I should have been worried about.
There he is.
Where?
It's right over
yeah?
there. God, he's a leg in it.
He's legging it.
I feel like he turned around.
He did. He's probably looking at us, thinking, wondering if we're a farm.
Hopefully he knows
Yeah.
Princess.
That's weird. I'm going to get away from that. It stopped. I don't like that. Hopefully that's the van and they're filming me.
Support crew or fuming farmer, I was now entering the safe haven of this gentle river valley where I could finally shed some weight, hop over the river,
There we go.
and continue into this much more undulating and scenic type of farmland where the boundaries are skimpier and in theory the farmers fewer and hopefully more lenient.
I feel pretty safe up here.
There were faint rumblings coming from somewhere though, and all too soon I was back on another serious farm.
Okay, this farm is quite far off to the left, but I'm very in view of it.
On top of that, we had the added factor this time of mud.
Couldn't run if I wanted to on here.
Engine sound getting louder from behind, I hurried myself over the next abnormally tall fence where the view of the farm became even clearer.
Yeah, I don't like that one. That is really loud, but I think it's quite far away. It's that I'm worried about now, and I can't run. If I run, my running shoes will come off.
Up till now, the farm to my left had been the main concern, but how quickly things can pivot on a straight line mission.
And we do have a farm to the right. Got a bad feeling about this for some reason, I don't know why.
I was now sandwiched between two big farms, and as soon as the ground allowed me to run, I did so. There was no movement among the farm vehicles to my left, but on the right, the very opposite.
Oh, what's that? That's a van up there. Oh, and that's moving. Jesus wept, mate.
A white car had pulled up next to a van in the car park, windscreen pointing straight towards me.
They will have seen me. For sure. Let's get over this.
The road was good because while I was stood on it, I was safe. The question now was what to do next.
Don't know what to do. Yeah, they are a bit peeved, I think.
Tackling this awful hedge while they were watching me could easily ignite a chase. But equally, it might not be their land. Whereas if I stay put, they'd probably keep watching me and potentially come down and question me. Speed was still yet to fail me though, and it didn't take too long to make a decision.
I think I've just got to go for it. This is going to be painful.
For all I knew, keys were already in the ignition, so speed was key here, even if it did mean copping a few hawthorns to the cranium.
Right, let's go. Just lightly jogging, as if I'm jogging down the road.
Then, sure enough, the unmistakable sound of a car came whooshing down the road.
Is that the same car? I think it is, yeah.
Without wanting to look back too much, it was clear that the car had slowed right down to a crawl.
Are they stopping?
But just as I prepared myself for the incoming shouts...
No, they've gone. Wow, this is unbelievable. Not that I'm safe now, but I thought it was over then, because that's the first time I've clearly been seen doing ridiculous hedgerows. But he drove off. Maybe it's not his business. Or he could, of course, be coming round to meet me. You never know. So I'm moving quick, as far away from their land as possible. Just like me and Ben did that fateful day.
Soon I was beyond the beady eyes of the neighbouring farm and into the safety of this wooded valley,
Can let the heat die down in here.
where I couldn't help but feel like I was getting my strategy spot on.
That might have been an incredible decision to leave when I did.
2 fields later though, although the heat had died down, there were more shiny roofs.
God, I'm exposed here. There are windows. Oh God. That is not good.
I was planning to stop for a breather on this road, but I thought better of it.
I think I'm just going to keep going, you know.
Once out of view again, I entered another leafy area, this time a lot more privately owned.
Definitely their land.
And a couple of fences later, the sound of a raspy old tractor stopped me in my tracks.
That's not a good sound. Where's that? Yeah, there is a road about 300 metres up there. I just don't want to enter a field when there's a quad bike in it. Although it sounded like a tractor. Right, I can't hear the tractor anymore, so I'm going to go for it.
The tractor had in fact travelled along this road and into this nearby field.
Okay, that's not good. What do I do? Hope that he goes into his yard? I feel like I'm slightly sheltered here, but not very. Unless I happen to resemble a small tree.
But again, I felt okay to go for it. And although the gradient wasn't in my favour,
Knackering.
this was what the training was for, and I was able to continue the pace, keeping an eye and an ear on the tractor, all the way up to the road. And there was no crouching behind this hedge.
Oh God. Oh no. Oh, that's awful. Oh. Ah. That was so deep.
I may have reached safety, but just 2 fields away was real freedom. A large forest that marked the end of the main chunk of farmland, and a chance to rest and refuel with the support crew ready for the final push.
Have a listen. Peace and quiet. That is safety there.
One final sneaky farmhouse kept me alert until I was close enough to see that it was actually abandoned,
Well, the back end isn't very lived in, so I think we're all good.
by which point I could smell the pine resin.
Okay. Oh, that is us. Ah, yes. That is a big moment. Can't deny it. This is not easy to get over. I'm glad it's not that though. What's so tough about this mission is you've got the farmland element, which is the biggest I've ever had, but then you've got this awful mass of other things that are just, if the farmland could make me fail, the other stuff could make me cry and want to quit.
At this moment in time though, I was perfectly content.
Yeah, this is it. They're not here though, for some reason.
Ah, here they are. They're coming.
Hello, mate.
Yes.
Going well.
Yeah, more really close shaves, but made it through. Time wasn't really an issue today like it would be on so many others, so I was able to take a few minutes to recharge, refuel and catch up with Ben and Verity before tackling the final 7 kilometres of the day.
Right, we've got people walking up, so I'm gonna get out of here. Right, see you in a bit.
Hi.
I got over that. Good luck with the last bit.
It's a new interview.
Easy peasy.
Overall, it promised to be less stressful but slower going from now on. How slow, however, I could never have imagined. First up, the first of many, many acres of pine trees to come on this mission.
Oh. Right, here we go. It's our old friend the pine. Hood up, and in we go. Oh Christ, I'm not sure I'm mentally prepared for this.
This first forest was pretty annoying with its brambles and slippy fallen logs, but thankfully it didn't last very long.
We're out the trees.
I then entered a pretty strange abandoned chicken coop type place.
This is weird.
With Ben and Verity watching over me from the support van, I approached the only property that stood between these two forests, standing briefly on the safety of another public footpath.
So I'm allowed to be here. Good luck getting to me.
Before passing gingerly through their lovely little private woodland.
Yeah, it's where the kids play. And then this looks pretty open access. Good, that's one little farmland section out the way. Now into the forest. May your pine trees be tall and spacious, which it looks like they are. One thing I didn't consider was fallen trees. And that's an absolute wobbler. Let's hope that there aren't too many in here. In we go.
It was a good start. I had to re-familiarise myself with the GPS's erratic signal whilst ducking and diving through the twigs, but for the most part at least the trees were remaining upright.
Wow, listen to that.
I actually started to feel quite weak at this point and had to stop for another sugary refuel.
This is the comfiest natural seat I've ever sat on, by the way.
And it was just as well, because very soon I was going to need all the energy I could get.
It's never good when it turns green. That means moisture, and that means unstable ground, and that means fallen trees. Oh no, this looks bad though. This looks bad. Right, it was only a matter of time until we came to one of these. Right, I will have touched on this in the intro, but fallen trees is going to be a huge problem on this trip. I can't climb over them all. It's dangerous, and it would add on 2 days, I would say. I'm really hoping I can stay within platinum, but basically I'm going to have to go round some of these. Let's see, I can go right here.
To begin with, it was all right, and although it looked bad ahead,
Me, look at this.
maybe there'd be decent paths through, I told myself.
Okay, there's a way through there.
But blind optimism only gets you so far.
That's a dead end if ever I saw one. The problem I've got is, and I can't even talk too long for this reason, but it could slow me down to the point where it gets dark and I don't get to the desired camp spot one day. Imagine trying to get through this in the dark. I'd be almost certain to fall and hurt myself. And good luck finding me in here in the dark. Look at this. This is a potential trip ender, not this spot, but this issue. Right, I'm going to get up high for a moment to see the extent of this. This is absolutely horrendous. I don't know how I'm going to do this.
With slippy logs and 10-foot drops below them, I was reluctant to make climbing my strategy.
Do I stand atop these things? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it to myself. It's too dangerous.
But there wasn't really an alternative.
Oh my God. Look at the drop down here now. It's one of them. It's if one of them goes in my throat, or worse, up my arse.
To prevent either of those things from happening, all I could do was go slowly and very carefully. But it still felt like an awful long-term plan.
This goes on for ages. Goes on for at least 100 metres, this does. And I'm already taking risks here. I can't go under either. There's no room underneath. It's got to be over. Archie and Adam are going to have this same issue as well. Thing is, I can't keep filming either because I'll waste all my battery. But if I stop filming, I could miss, well, something terrible. But yeah.
As I ventured deeper into this sea of rotting timber, roots underneath the logs presented themselves to me, but to be honest, that felt even less safe. Speed definitely felt sensible when passing underneath logs. Everything was interlocked, nothing was guaranteed to be stable, and I had to be really careful which things I knocked into or pulled on.
That was stupid, Tom.
In terms of deviation though, I was sticking pretty damn close to the line. If I had have decided to avoid this altogether, it probably would have taken me over the 100-metre mark, which I would consider an instant fail. But since I'd committed, I figured I might as well give it a good go. 35 minutes and just 130 metres in, the end was at least in sight.
Okay. It's pretty bad, isn't it? But at least I can see the end. High up here though. Way too high up. Don't do this at home, guys. I've got very good balance. Don't say that now, Tom.
Shortly after this, I went down under again and entered what could only be described as a series of brown rooms.
Look at this.
It was hard to know which way to go at times, but somehow I always managed to find a way through without having to go back on myself too much.
How am I supposed to get through that? I just don't really know what's safe.
One of the many frustrating things about these fallen tree sections is that you're never quite sure when your ordeal is going to be over.
Look at that. Look at that, man.
It's very easy to become impatient, you make careless decisions, combine that with fatigue, cramp, etc., and that's where accidents happen.
I don't know what this means for the mission, but it could mean the end.
I managed to remain calm though, and eventually, after 55 minutes, it seemed like I was finally out of the woods.
Ah, that looks like the actual end now. Is it? Or is that too good to be true? No, I think it is. There's obviously going to be more. We were doing so well, and that has put a serious... I mean, I'm through it, and I haven't hurt myself, which is great news. I'm good at getting through them, but it's dangerous. But if there's anything like that again, I'm not sure I want to do it. I'll speak with Ben and Verity, but I think I know what they'll say, especially my pregnant wife.
Feeling pretty gutted about this sudden blow to the mission's hopes, I trudged on, down and up a little valley, through a section of very short pine.
Time for a pathside piss, I think.
And into another damp, mossy section, where I was finally treated to a welcome sight.
Right, it's on to open land now. But after this clearing, we're into another big forest, and you can literally see the fallen trees. I mean, they're literally on the imagery. I don't know if I want to risk going through something of that scale again. I don't know if it's worth it. What do you think? Probably mixed opinions, but it's my call at the end of the day. It's my life. What a mad mission this is, man. Intense farmland, and now spates of fallen trees so bad and so dangerous that I'm now thinking that the mission suddenly might not be able to continue because of it.
A strange mixture of emotions and thoughts were now circulating in my brain, and one that I had to repress was actually a sense of relief. Relief from deep within my body that it might no longer have to go through this grueling ordeal.
Oh, look at that. A little deer.
It was easy to suppress this by reminding myself how badly I wanted to succeed, but I couldn't force myself to believe that the forests would be kinder from here on in, because they weren't gonna be.
Come on, be a nice wood.
All I could do was play it by ear, and what better place to start than forest number 2.
If only they all felt like that. This pine looks much more sturdy and organised. Let's hope it stays this way.
But that, once again, was wishful thinking.
Perhaps not. Look at that. That's actually a really bizarre sight to the eyes. I've got roughly 25 miles of forest to go through. Imagine how many sights like this I'm going to see. Just based on what I've seen so far. I don't think it's going to be doable. I'm just being realistic. See how bad this bit is. Lovely smell of pine in the air, at least.
We're drowning! Yeah, but there's a nice smell of jasmine!
Like before, I began optimistic for ways through. And like before, I was badly mistaken.
Awful. Awful again. Look at that. Look how high some of them go.
It was here that I knew I was going to have to make a compromise.
One thing's for sure. It's not going to be a platinum run, is it? Because there are going to be loads of places like this. And I'm not going to be breaking my balls staying in platinum when it'll be unsafe. Let's get up on some high ground, shall we? Yeah, if we head down there, maybe this is okay. But again, it's not a good omen, is it?
I decided to give this section a good go, but I was still taking too many risks for my liking, ending up 11 or 12 feet off the ground at times.
F***ing hell, that's far down. Jesus, Tom.
And it was getting harder to stick to the line too.
I'm on the edge of platinum now. I don't know where to go.
After a while, you come to know which bits look dangerous and which bits look doable.
Slippery doodah.
Mostly based on how much stuff there is to grab onto, really.
Again, I can do it. Same as Alex Honnold can climb up El Capitan without ropes. But would he do it 10 times in a row? I don't know. I just don't know about this, guys. Do you? What do you think? I'd love to know what you guys think. I mean, I've only got my own perspective here, which is, it's kind of fun, but it's dangerous. Let's carry on anyway and get through these bits of farmland, which frankly will be less stressful in light of all this. I say that like there won't be more. Look, there's more. No, this is what I'm talking about, man. It fatigues you and then you make a mistake.
The sight of this road and the open field beyond was a curiously welcome one. Even more welcome than the lands of tomorrow, which were now visible up ahead. Of course, there was now the threat of people.
Car coming. Looks like the guy from earlier. Okay, let's go. Another farm vehicle.
But after the isolated hellholes I'd just been through, that felt like more of a reassurance than a threat. And with the support van less than 2 miles away, I actually enjoyed this stretch of farmland. There was only one thing that could further lift my spirits.
I was looking at the map and it looked like there was going to be a horrendous forest with more visibly fallen trees, but they've all been chopped down or collected, which isn't much more fun, but it's certainly better and safer than the alternative.
This huge expanse of branches, stumps and man-sized craters stretched on for no less than 7 football pitches. Ordinarily, this would be quite an exacerbating exercise. Right now, it was a chance to relax, think, and make some good ground in the process.
Finally reached the end of that wretched branch graveyard, and I'm into the last section of farmland of the day, and it's pretty bad. I've got to skirt round this farm, going round their hedge and through their horse fields, and then later on is the Airbnb / farm where I go up their drive. So see what happens. Okay, here's the farm. This is where the line goes. It's actually more doable than I thought, but I'm going to go round because it's only 17 metres. Yeah, I'm just going to go here, man. And get another jog on, because there are people at home. And a tractor around the corner. There he is. Right, this is the second property. There's no running away from this. All uphill. There's that tractor. Out of sight. Or not. What approach do I take here?
The fact that part of this property was an Airbnb did make it more tempting to simply waltz up their driveway and over the far fence, but it was still risky. What I opted for instead, after a quick scan, was a skirt along the edge of their garden. But I was stopped by some of the most putrid sludge I've ever seen or smelt.
No, that is disgusting. That is really, really, really deadly.
Instead, it was a sneak through the garden, in plain view of their windows, past the smallest church ever constructed, and over the fence.
Well, I don't know if I've got away with that. Someone could be watching. Wow. Really? Right, we're past that somehow. And that's it, isn't it? Oh no! Mr. Dodd's farm, shit. Is that it?
It was it, and although I'd be getting pretty close to it, I had just taken my last steps as a platinum missioner. My cautiousness back at the last property tipping me into the inevitable clutches of the gold zone.
Please let me through, Ken. I think, again, the line takes me through their garden here, but I can go round. Yeah, there's a van there.
Sticking to the plan, I veered over to the right towards the back end of their garden.
We can go around here.
Aiming for the scrubland at the back of their property. A quick glance around told me that there were no people watching me enter, but maybe I should have been looking a bit lower.
What the f***? That's a dog. They're dogs. Can't go in there, can I? They're trying to hunt, are they? Are they rat killing dogs? Have they been hired? What are they doing? Hello? They're not even responding to me or looking at me. And they're gone. Just like that, they're gone. Do I go now? They'll still be in there, but I'm going to conclude that because they didn't bark at me once, that they won't bark at me again, I guess.
And that was the last I saw or heard from those dogs.
There's got to be a man around somewhere who owns those dogs. They're clearly doing a job.
But with not a soul over at Dodd's farm, it remained a bit of a mystery.
It's baffling, that is.
Deviation-wise, the whole thing threw me off kilter a bit, and I only fully got back to the line once I'd waded across this foul-smelling swamp.
Oh man, that is grim.
After that, it was into a brief stint of short pine.
Oh, I think we're coming out again.
And this scrubland would take me right up to the first of many strategically placed camp spots where our toasty van waited patiently for me.
I just really can't wait to get to that van now, to be honest. It has been quite a long day. One of the longest days missioning I've ever done, to be fair. It's quite a big fence. Nothing we can't clamber over. Oh, lovely view from up here. There they are, poking through the grass. Alright.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm alright.
Day one was done and dusted, and I could finally clock off on the GPS and relax over at the van. I'd done exactly what I'd set out to do today and put myself in a prime position for the rest of the trip. But despite all this, I didn't feel like I could really celebrate. Lots to tell, but
Okay, yeah, you've got
yeah,
time.
I
You've got
think
time.
the main takeaway point is that I don't know if it's possible to cross England right now. Like, don't want to sound dramatic, but
What would you say you're on now, score-wise?
I think I've drifted just outside platinum.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was worse than that.
No.
Oh, okay. I think if you were to get to the end and you were like, we've done it, it's bronze, you'd be happier than if you were just like, we're just going to go on.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. But I actually don't know if I could have done
Even done it bronze, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you did.
I did, but I
Oh,
mean,
you mean
if,
going
if
forward?
I opted
right.
to skirt round, if that was like my strategy to skirt round and not
Even that
take
might
any
not-
risks,
Even that might not have
it
been
might not have
possible either,
worked.
okay.
I got you this.
Oh, you're an angel. Fanta lilt, the times we live in, eh? Welcome to just lilt.
I know, it's the same colour branding and everything.
And it tastes different, it tastes more Fanta-y. Don't like that. No, but thanks. Tomorrow promised to be an incredibly arduous day, even if all the trees happen to be upright. 10 miles of pretty much solid pine plantations in freezing cold and wet conditions that I had to get through if I wanted to avoid a whole host of other problems. If there was any of this again, it would be far too slippy and dangerous to try and climb through, but after a chat with the team, I was at least more at peace with the idea of venturing into the silver or even bronze zone if I had no choice. A completed mission was a completed mission, and this one was still very much on.
I think you've done very well to not get caught, bearing in mind the amount of farming activity that even we saw when we were driving around. We were thinking like,
100%.
God, there's a lot going on.
I've got to remember that halfway through today, I was cacking myself when I was 5 miles in at the idea of having to start again in the early hours of tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
That was a horrible thought because I would have had no excuse not to.
Yeah.
So we've got to the end of day one, we've done 14 miles and we're still on schedule.
Yeah. And I think although tomorrow's got a lot of potential danger, you haven't got the worry of being rushed along by potential farmers kicking you off. It's just you, and you can take as long as you want to get through it.
You know, if it's not too bad with the fallen trees, I'm looking forward to seeing how far I can get tomorrow. I'll be over the moon if I can get to Camp 2 by the lake. Whether or not it would quite pan out that way, you'll have to wait until next week to find out. For now, it was time to kick back and indulge in some more of the perks of this thing they call van life. Oh, this is amazing. Stag chili with rice and cheese. And the vapours in the background. Did you leave some cheese for us, mate? You absolute idiot. Oh, that's up to my dick. Oh, I'm in. Look at that. This isn't good. This is fingers crossed now, guys. Big time. It's moments like this when I think, why am I doing this?
Personally, I don't think you're in a good shape now, so I think